Hey, what is going on, fools? It's AJayPay. I'm bringing you a Pokemon Wi-Fi battle on Christmas. Yeah, this is my present to you guys since I've been rarely uploading, especially Wi-Fi battles, but I'm going to try my best to in 2013. But we're going to talk about that later in the New Year's stuff and yada yada yada. But anyways, yeah, I got a battle. It's not a Christmas themed battle. It's just a UU match. It's a not a good match necessarily in terms of most people's eyes, but it was a fun match when I played it. But it was just very hacksy, especially on my side, and then kind of on his side later. But it turned out to be a decent match towards the end, because I make a stupid mistake, which I'll point out. I will seriously will point out, but let's just go ahead and start the battle. So it was really hard to choose a lead because I didn't really know what he'd lead off with. So I predicted him to lead off with his Roserade. That's why I decided to lead off with my Choice Scarf Chandelier, but he leads off with Blastoise. Now I could have went for the Energy Ball right here, but I knew it wouldn't take him out in one hit, so I decided to go for the Will-O-Wisp to get residual damage. But unfortunately I missed, and luckily he does go through the Roar rather than the Hydro Pump, because if he carried Hydro Pump, then I would have died. But I know I could live a Scald, and most of them do carry Scald. That's why I decided to stay in and take that risk. But I'm going to predict him to switch it to Roserade, predicting me to go for the T-Ball on the Blastoise. I do predict this switch correctly, however, it's a switch into Flygon instead, as he's going to go for a U-turn. He outspeeds me, so therefore he's Scarfed, which was kind of obvious because most Flygons are Scarfed. But he makes a really good prediction right here, predicting me to go for the Will-O-Wisp, because why would I go for the Fire move on a Flygon? Usually people would go for a Shadow Ball, but bit of ballsy play on him, but really good prediction on his part because I went for it earlier. But I switched to Shaman as Dead Fodder, thinking it is the least useful Poke on my team, but later I realized it is kind of actually really important, as I do go for the Earth Power to break the sub and stay in the die, but luckily he misses the Fire Blast, which is really crucial because that would have definitely killed me, and this Shaman does a lot of work in this game later. But I go for the Earth Power again, not taking the risk of him, Fire Blasting, because I didn't want him to sub basically, that's why I stayed in, rather than going for the C for predicting it, because I did have a gut feeling that he would go into Flygon, as he's going to go for a U-turn on my physically defensive Zapdos, and he gets a crit, and look how much that does. That's just how physically defensive Zapdos actually can be with the good investment of bulk and defense. But Weavile is going to come in, and I make a big misplay on this Zapdos. Now usually with this Zapdos I'm able to stall out physical attacking pokes, but maybe not this Weavile because Weavile has high attack. So I go for the Toxic, and it was, in my mind, I thought that did a little bit above half, and Lefties would take me over to that point where I can live another one and I could just roost stall him. However, I'm really bad at math and I play too much Showdown and rely on percentages that they show on it, and I die. So I lose my Zapdos, which was really crucial because that Zapdos could have helped me out later in the game. But I switched my Registeel in because I'm thinking he's Choice Banded since I did not see any item on him, and usually people don't carry the Focus Sash set anymore, and Smogon doesn't even have it on their page anyways, so that's why I went for it. As he switches to the Blastoise, and I do predict him to go for the Scald, predicting me to go into my Chandelier to Rapid Spin block him. But I get burned here, which is fine, but then again kind of not fine at the same time because I do have Life Orb, so I'm taking like double recoil. And I know Roserade's going to come in, but I might as well just go for the Seed Floor just in case if he stays in and over predicts. And I was thinking, hey, I'm going to get the Special Defense Drop. And would you know, I got the Special Defense Drop. And I know now that if I get a pretty good output from my Air Slash, damage output, I will OHKO this thing. And I am going to straight up OHKO this Roserade. So it may have been more of an offensive one rather than a special defensive. Not really sure, but it's really good that I got that thing out of the way. But he switches in his Chandelier now, and I have the legendary 69 HP, but I definitely do not want Shaman dying just yet, because I think I still need it against the Blastoise. So I switch into my Registeel as Death Fodder, but he actually predicts me to switch into Chandelier to get the Flash Fire boost, and goes into his Flygon. And I don't want anything taking the Earthquake, so I decide, I'm just going to have Registeel just die. And this is where I definitely needed Zapdos, because Zapdos could have definitely Toxic stalled this thing to death. Even though I don't carry Hidden Power Ice, I carry Hidden Power Flying actually, but that's irrelevant. But he's going to switch Blastoise in now, as I think he realizes at this point that I am just going to leave this thing as Death Fodder, and I go for a Silence Toss, which is actually kind of good for me because I do need damage off this Blastoise, because I only have two things to take on this Blastoise, which is my Shaman and my Chandelier with both grass attacks on them. But I'm going to switch Shaman in here now, because it's the best opportunity for me to basically get all my health back. But I have a little bit amount of health left where Life Orb Recoil is going to kill me, so I either have to make a choice of killing this thing off and trying to attack it, or just heal off. And I decide I just need to rest and heal all these things off, because I thought he would switch into something to take the Seafleur, and I'd just knock myself out with the Seed Flare and Life Orb Recoil, and unfortunately though, however, because of this decision, rather than killing it off, he's going to Rapid Spin my rocks away, which were actually really important to me and I did not take priority to, which you'll see now here as I switch into Mirage Steel, knowing that he might switch Chandelier in, because I want to get my rocks up, but now that I switched Chandelier in, I thought, hey, I'm going to break this up with the Shadow Claw. Only problem is, my Registeel on Showdown has Shadow Claw, this one does not, so unfortunately I have not updated this yet, so I have to go for Iron Hits, and I'm trying to break the sub so that way when I switch a poke in, he's not going to be behind a sub is the point. However, I should have realized at this point that that's not going to happen. I should have just set up my Stealth Fox, which were really crucial, which I'll point out towards the end, and he's just going to take me out of the Fire Blast and still be behind a sub. But Life Orb Recoil at this point is going to take him out at some point in time, as I'm just going to go for the Earth Power, because I know this is the only thing that will take him out, and I do need my other pokes for later. And then I thought he was going to knock me out here with a Fire Blast, but he misses, so lucky me. And I'm able to knock him out with the Air Slash though. So there we go, that big threat is gone, but Weavile's going to come in now, and I have nothing to take a hit from Weavile, so I'm just going to stay in and die from this Ice Punch. However, I live with the tiniest bit of health. That just shows how much bulk this Shaman has, but I missed Seed Flare, which was really crucial, but I guess that kind of does make up for the Fire Blast hacks, so, well, not really makes up for it, but you know, it helps him out a bit is the point. It redeems something. As I do predict him to go for another Ice Punch, because I'm thinking at this point he's Choice Banded still, and I thought this Shadow Ball would take him down, or take him down to the point where Tox is going to kill him. But not only it's not going to kill him, I'm going to die from a Night Slash, because it turns out he's not Choice Banded, he's actually probably a Focus Sash set, and then also the Toxic doesn't take him out. So Weavile does have somewhat of special defense, but again, I'm a freaking Chandelier, I have hella high spec attack, and I thought he wouldn't predict me to go for the Mach Punch or attack him in general, but then again it was kind of obvious to switch into the Blastoise, because Blastoise can take any one hit from this Hitmontop. So I'm going to switch back out to my Shaman as basically dead fodder, so I have to lose this matchup against this Blastoise. I have to find another way to take this Blastoise out. So down goes my Shaman. I have 2 Pokesubs, and I believe he still has 4, as I'm going to switch into my Choice Banded Swampert, and I went for the Waterfall here as he does miss the Toxic, because I thought he might predict me to go for the Earthquake and switch into Flygon. But now I'm locked into Waterfall, and I don't want anything else really taking a hit. I don't want my Hitmontop to be Toxic, especially since you'll see later what kind of set it is. As I'm locked in Waterfall, I'm just going to have to go for it. I'm just gonna have to hope to get some crits. Gonna have to hope that eventually I'll be able to take this thing out. But he's going to switch out to his Cobalion now for some reason, rather than not staying in. I'm not too sure why he did this, maybe predicting my switch into Hitmontop. And then it just does a bit more than half. And then here comes a kind of a somewhat big play here, as he shows that rather than having close combat, he has Sacred Sword. So Sacred Sword is going to be a bit of a problem, as you'll see later, as I go for the Waterfall, and if he did go for the close combat, he would have died there, and my Swampert wouldn't have to die right now to another Sacred Sword, and his Cobalion would still be alive here. So if he had close combat, I would have still had Swampert against something else, and I wouldn't have to switch Hitmontop in now. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to switch Hitmontop in now, and my Hitmontop is the technical set, and it has Bulk Up, which is really good. It helps me a lot in most games. It is my late game sweeper as well. However, Sacred Sword ignores the defense boosts, all the boosts in general, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. But now I'm just going to decide to take this Cobalion out just with the Mach Punch, because now I'm at +1. I have to rely on a +1 defense in order to take out the rest of his team, as he has 3 pokes left with the Blastoise, the Flygon, and the Weavile. But Blastoise is going to come in, and I just gotta hope I don't get burned from the Scald, because if I do, I've lost the game. I have no chance of winning. However, I do not get burned. I kick this Blastoise in the balls and knock it out. So, you know, that's Blastoise present. A kick to the balls. So, Flygon's going to come in now, and I gotta hope I could take 8 Outrage. And Flygon doesn't technically have the best attack in the world, but it does work as a good choice guard for it. I do live with 22, and that's thanks to the +1 defense from my Bulk Up. I'm going to kick that stupid Flygon in the balls as well and knock that thing out. So that's another Christmas present there, as he has 1 poke left and I have 1 poke left, which is his Weavile and my Hitmontop, and unfortunately he has Ice Shards in it like most Weaviles do, and that's going to be a very narrow 1-0 victory on his part. Now this would have been my victory if I only had set up the Stealth Fox when Chandelier was behind a sub when I had my Registeel out, because that Weavile would have died upon switch in. against my Hitmontop, and that would have been a narrow 1-0 victory on my part because of a Hitmontop setup sweep rather than him having a very narrow 1-0 victory outspeeding me with the ice shards. But regardless, that was still a good game. It was really fun to play, especially towards the end until I lost. But hey, we all make mistakes, but I'm not the best player in the world. But yeah, hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Have fun, don't stress out, eat a lot. This is not Thanksgiving, but hey, I like eating, so you have to eat a lot as well. And have a safe stuff, yada yada. I'll be trying to upload more. Hopefully there'll be 2 more uploads today on Christmas, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. So those are my presents to you guys. So yeah, like if you like, comment if you like, and subscribe if you like, and I'll see you fools later. And yes, Society of Fools, the best society in the world. Woo! Like them on the Facebook page, follow me on Twitter, add me on Skype. There are all links will be down below. Okay, bye.